What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JBsports back again with another one. There's an old saying, revenge is a dish best served cold. Let me set the stage for you. For the last 4 days or more, undisputed at 135 pounds has been negotiated between unified lightweight champion George Kambosos and WBC lightweight champion Devin Haney. The fight is not going to happen because of many reasons, but the number one reason is Devin Haney feels some type of way about fighting on ESPN, which his last several fights have been on the Zone, and the fight being promoted by Top Rank Boxing, and his last several fights have been promoted by Matchroom Boxing. He's feeling some type of way about going over there to Australia and fighting George Kambosos and getting in fair shape. When you talk about Devin Haney, he's a very skillful fighter. Great jab, great length, very technical, smart fighter. Knows how to control distance, but he's a guy that doesn't have one hitter quitter. If you don't have one hitter quitter and the fight goes to the judges and you fighting in a foreign land, you subject to get robbed. And that's one of many reasons. The reasons that we're here. The reasons that we'll make it last forever. Oh, and that's one of the many reasons why this fight has fallen by the wayside, ladies and gentlemen. Let me set the stage about revenge. Bob Arum, who is a promoter of Teofimo Lopez, former unified lightweight champion. George Kambosos, who is promoted by Lou DiBella. Those two fighters were on tap to fight in 2021. Remember that fight that got pushed back like 3 or 4 times? As Triller outbidded Matchroom Boxing and Top Rank Boxing to secure the rights to that fight. But they tried to put the fight in Miami. They say the ticket sales were very low. The fight kept getting pushed back. And Triller ended up defaulting on the purse bid, and Matchroom Boxing, which was the second highest bidder, ended up securing the rights to that fight. They put that fight on at Hula Theater inside Madison Square Garden. And Teofimo Lopez, promoter Bob Arum, the Quincy Jones of boxing promoters, was none too happy about that, because he was trying to scratch his head and figure out why Matchroom Boxing would put on a fight involving 2 fighters that are not signed to Matchroom Boxing. Why in the hell would Eddie Hearn promote a fight when neither of the fighters that are participating in the fight that he's promoting are signed with him? And you can tell by the words that were coming out of Bob Arum's mouth that he will be seeking revenge. And we are sitting here tonight, right before a fight that I'm finna go into this sports bar, actually watch Tim Tszyu making his U.S. boxing debut against Terrell Gasha. Finna get right here and watch this. I'm finna find out really how good is Tim Tszyu. Is he a C-level fighter? Is he a B-level fighter? Is he an A-level fighter? We're gonna find out a lot about Tim Tszyu tonight, as he's taking on a guy that's only lost to the best of the best in the junior middleweight division. As Gasha has lost to Erickson Lubin. He hurt Lubin early in that fight, but he lost to Erickson Lubin clearly, and he lost to Ergelanda Lara in a snooze fest. So we're going to find out how good Tim Tszyu is as he makes his U.S. boxing debut. That's neither here nor there. We got bigger fish to fry as far as the lightweight division and who is the top dog at 135 pounds. We are not going to find that answer on June 5th, evidently, as Lou DiBella, the promoter of George Kambosos, is basically moving into another direction as he's looking to secure another opponent, an alternative opponent to match up with the unified lightweight champion. As Devin Haney, who was a guy that doesn't have the one-hitter quitter. He's a guy that's a unanimous decision winner waiting to happen. When you're talking about an accident waiting to happen, Haney is a unanimous decision waiting to happen. And when you go into a foreign land, and even when your opponent throwing punches, the crowd making noise, he might not be landing, but it might be influencing the judges, he's subject to get robbed. You look at Devin Haney, who has been promoted by Matchroom Boxing, and his fights are shown on the Zone. As his last several fights, he has been the clear A-side fighter. If he goes over there to Australia, he would definitely be the B-side fighter. The Zone won't be showing this fight. ESPN is showing this fight. And Matchroom Boxing will not be promoting the fight as Top Rank Boxing is promoting the fight. A lot of people saying, well, damn, how is Top Rank Boxing promoting this fight? Bob Arum don't have any of these fighters fighting up under Top Rank Boxing. He hasn't, none of these fighters signed a contract with Top Rank Boxing. Why is he putting on his fights? Like I said, it goes back to the old Teofimo Lopez versus George Kambosos. When we was asking the same question, why is Eddie Hearn putting on a fight with fighters that are not signed to Matchroom Boxing? Now we're in the same situation. How the tables have turned, as Errol Spence Jr. once said. Bob Arum, you can tell that he was looking to get back at Eddie Hearn, and this is the reasons, many reasons why this fight is not happening. Ladies and gentlemen, the balls is basically in Devin Haney's court. Eddie Hearn, well, if it's a big fight, he wants to be the lead promoter. Look at what's going on with Tyson Fury and Dillian White. He's shitting on that fight every interview he does. He said the fight might not happen. He did the same thing with Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. Said that fight wasn't going to come off. And now we're 3 fights in, and that turned out to be fake news as far as Eddie Hearn goes. He's doing the same thing with George Kambosos and Devin Haney. He's telling Devin Haney, why would you go over there and possibly get robbed? You might beat him every round. You might do him like Lennox Lewis did Evander Holyfield, and they might say it's a draw. You know what I'm saying? Anything happened over there in Australia. Why would you go over there? It's not like you got devastating power where you can put his lights out and you ain't got to worry about it going to the judges. You're a guy that's a very skillful fighter, very technically sound, and you're a guy that's more than likely, especially fighting a guy on the level of George Kambosos, if you win, you got to win by decision. You couldn't even stop Yorkers Gamboa, and he's way past his best days. Now what you gonna do with a guy that's in the prime like George Kambosos? You think you're gonna be able to stop him? Not likely. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But the tables have turned, and the bottom line is, Lou DiBella, the promoter of George Kambosos, had a deal set up with Vasily Lomachenko, former unified lightweight champion. I guess a lot of people say he was undisputed, but he gave up that belt because he didn't really want to fight Devin Haney. He got upgraded to franchise status, but he was the recognized number 1 at 135 pounds. He's looking to reclaim those belts. But due to the war that's going on presently in Ukraine, as Russia has invaded Ukraine, and Ukraine is fighting for their freedom, fighting for their liberty. Vasily Lomachenko has gone over there, and he's on the front line trying to stop the aggression of the Russian military. So he's not able to get in the ring and fight Kambosos for the WBO, WBA, and IBF titles. So basically, Lou DiBella has erased Vasily Lomachenko name off that contract and has placed Devin Haney name in his place. And that means that the parameters of the contracts are still the same. ESPN is going to show the fight. Top Rank Boxing is going to be the lead promoter. And there lies the problem. Ladies and gentlemen, as Devin Haney, shouldn't be no problem because Devin Haney is a network free agent. But that sounds good. But in all actuality, he might not have no contract with Matchroom Boxing. He might not actually have a contract stating that Eddie Hearn is his promoter. But in reality, that is the case. He's closely aligned with Eddie Hearn. He's closely aligned with Matchroom Boxing. He has made his biggest paydays under Matchroom Boxing. And he's not looking to leave Matchroom Boxing in the zone anytime soon. And for him to take a fight with George Kambosos on ESPN for a purse that's well below the purses that he made under the zone, and for him to take a chance and fight on ESPN instead of the zone and being a clear B side, and George Kambosos being the A side, basically being a house fighter, Devin Haney is feeling some type of way. Devin Haney is not trusting what can happen in Australia. If he beats the brakes off of George Kambosos and George Kambosos stays on his feet and don't get stopped, Devin Haney thinks he can get robbed. Look at what happened with Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao clearly beat Joe Horn, but he did not get the decision. And Joe Horn was able to get the belt off of Manny Pacquiao and become WBO or welterweight champion. So that's one of many reasons why this fight has fell by the wayside. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts about George Kambosos versus Devin Haney. Do you think Haney should believe in himself and go ahead and go forward and take on George Kambosos in George Kambosos' backyard on ESPN, promoted by Top Rank Boxing, a neutral promotional company? It ain't like Top Rank Boxing is George Kambosos' promoter. But the thing is, Lou DiBella is closely aligned with Top Rank Boxing. So basically, Top Rank Boxing is a de facto promoter of George Kambosos. Devin Haney knows this. Eddie Hearn knows this. And that's the reasons why they have balked on accepting this offer. Now, what I'm hearing through the grapevine is George Kambosos is still fighting on June 5th. The fight will be shown live on US ESPN, cable, live. I say June 4th. I guess it's going to be June 5th over in Australia, June 4th, Saturday night here. And he'll be taking on either Jojo Diaz or Richard Comey. He gets the victory in that fight. Lou DiBella will be looking to set up a fight between Kambosos against Gervonta Tank Davis or King Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia has a fight coming up April 9th against Emmanuel Tagbo. Gervonta Tank Davis has a fight coming up May 28th against Rolando Rolly Romero. So everybody will have to take care of their business in order for a big fight in the lightweight division to take place in the winter of 2022. Let me know your thoughts about this whole situation. Another fight that bit the damn dust. Remember that old song? Another one bites the dust, and another one's gone, and another one's gone, and another one bites the dust. Another big fight has bit the damn dust. As George Kambosos versus Devin Haney is not happening, I would look for Devin Haney to move up to 140, but it's a lot of sharks at 140. A lot of sharks at 140. You got Regis Prograis. You got Josh Taylor, he's still there. You got Jose Ramirez. You know what I'm saying? You got Gary Antoine Russell, who's a real killer. I think when it's all said and done, he might be the top guy at 140 pounds. He just needs the big fights to prove it. But from what I'm seeing, he's got that makeup. He's got the intangibles. He's got that grit. He's got the heart. And he's got that seek and destroy type of mindset. Well, I think unless you got some hard punches to keep him off of you, and I'm talking about some one-hitter quitter type of power to get his respect, he's going to walk right through you. He's going to walk you down, and he's going to chop you down. He's just going to break you down. This guy is just a killer at 140. So it's a lot of sharks in the water at 140 pounds, but Devin Haney might not have no choice but to move up to 140 pounds, because if he can't get undisputed at 135, what's the point? There's no other fights at 135 that he can take on outside of George Kambosos. Ryan Garcia is not looking to fight him anytime soon. Gervonta Tank Davis has business to take care of with Rolando Rolly Romero. WBA has ordered the winner of that fight to take on George Kambosos, so that fight's not happening in 2022. So I think the best bet is for Devin Haney to move up and look to become champion at 140 pounds as the undisputed champion at 140 pounds. Josh Taylor will vacate the titles in the near future to move up to 147. Let me know your thoughts about this whole situation that has played out with George Kambosos versus Devin Haney. Who to blame? Do you blame Haney or do you blame George Kambosos? I blame Haney because he's a network free agent. He can make the fight happen, but he's feeling some type of way about fighting on another network, under another promotional company. He don't have the protection. He don't have the security of fighting under Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Boxing. Let me know your thoughts. Follow me on Twitter, JBsports3303. Like, share, and subscribe to JB Sports. The man, the myth, the legend. And I holla.